So I shared the idea of creating self-supporting behaviours rather than needing to rely on self-soothing. You know, when you're feeling a bit down, maybe a bit lonely, maybe a bit unseen, um, maybe even just bored or tired, and we tend to reach for the external to soothe us. And it doesn't usually do a very good job, but it's a temporary fix. And then we feel bad that we reach for something in the external world. Maybe you bought some shoes. I buy books. um, we all have our little ways of soothing ourselves, our little things that we do when we're not feeling great, or we're not feeling authentically seen, and that kind of thing. So I shared the idea of self-supporting rather than self-soothing behaviour, and I gave the idea of some of the things that I do and my foundation stones, like my interest in herbalism, Tai Chi and Qigong. These are things that I feel like are really easy ways for me to support myself and to appreciate nature and the world, and also acknowledge my energy systems as well as my physical body. And one of the things, so I'm just offering some other ideas out really, and really just in case you're a bit stuck as what is it that you can kind of add in that is kind of easy. And for me, one of the, because food is my self-soothing thing, and I don't soothe with sweet stuff. I know lots of people with sweet tooth. I like savoury, so I'm a terrible crisp monster. Even if I swap it for something more healthy like popcorn, I'm still a popcorn monster. I really like picking at food and stuff, so crisps and stuff are my Achilles heel. And in the past I've been prone to overeating and things like that. So what really changed for me with food, and it really changed largely when I decided that I kind of figured out that Japanese food and the way of eating that the Japanese do really suits me. Miso soup, brown rice, different vegetables, pickles, it really, really suits my body. And I just really noticed the difference between when I eat something like that and then I eat something different to that. And that's pretty much everything other than Japanese food. I really started to notice the subtle differences between how my body responds. So part of that self-supporting behavior came from the commitment that I've made to myself, and this is where the vows come in, which is to stop seeing food as entertainment and to see food as medicine. And there's so many cooking shows and online cooking people, and it's all very nice having interesting and exciting food, and often it's quite extravagant because they're trying to capture our imagination, and we've got extravagant food. But we have to be careful of waste. We also need to be careful of health. And so for me, changing my mindset from food as entertainment to food as medicine is something that is doing me some good. Really changed how I eat. And there's also sort of a Japanese gratitude, and I'm sure it exists in other cultures. I just really like Japanese culture. But in other cultures, and I know that in Christianity often we pray before a meal, but the idea of saying thank you for this meal, and thank you to all those who have brought it to my table, meaning growers, distributors, etc. But also, and this is what really changed for me, saying thank you to the food for its nutrition that it was giving me. And at the end of the meal, saying thank you again. And thank you again for everything that I've now received. And that really changed my relationship to food. And I find it quite self-supporting, and it means I tend not to overeat because it creates an end point to me eating. And I've noticed that when I don't do it, when I forget, which is why I suggest we put vows in, because otherwise we tend to forget what we've done before. Whenever I have remembered, I felt fine, good, didn't need anything else. And when I didn't say thank you at the end of the meal for everything it has given me, and didn't have that final end point, it kind of left the door open for saying, oh, I could have something else, oh, I could have something else, oh, I could just a little snack on that. Oh. And so this is why I've sort of really felt that this intuitive idea that came into me at the end of sort of September-ish, self-supporting really means that, like, it really is about finding the things that really work for you, for your body, your mind and your spirit. I'm focusing on the physical because this is where I'm working on mostly. I don't really necessarily need all the cornerstones for mind and spiritual stuff, because I do a lot of it anyway in my daily life. So these processes are already in place. The place where it's missing, where it's lacking, is on the physical level. But yours may be not on the physical level. Your self-supporting behaviours may be around emotions. It may be about creating a spiritual practice, and just sort of finding it and just sort of exploring which spiritual practices work for you, which teachers work for you, what things you want to explore in 2025, which and just sort of intuitively sort of be willing to follow that and see where it leads. But it's, you know, I'm focusing on the physical, but I'll give you another example of something. I'm just throwing out some examples from my personal life just to sort of say, give you some other ideas of what self-supporting behaviours might look like. And for me, what I've noticed at the end of this year is how, and this is not to do with the physical, is how I've really noticed how I've been really drawn, more so than ever, to artwork that makes me think differently. So during COVID, I realised how much I love artwork and how much I love art. And one of the things I really missed during all the lockdowns was the ability to go to a gallery and just see beautiful artwork. So art is a part of my life. I quite like it. I don't do any particularly myself. I'm starting to sort of move into sort of just having some self-expression through art, and that's very, very slow and very, very, very slow, almost standing still. But the intention for 2025 is to dedicate some more time to creating stuff. But what I realised with artwork, and what seems to be becoming much, much stronger, is I've been really attracted to books on art where it's challenging what I think visually. And this is a new direction for me, because I'm quite wordy. You can see I talk for ages, and we're on 8 minutes already. I'm a talker. I like to write. I like to read. But the visual challenge that some artworks bring makes you think in a different way. I've been really drawn to thinking and having a new perspective that artwork, which is non-verbal, is giving me. And I'm realizing that there's something really profound in being able to see a piece of artwork, in whether it was created centuries ago or whether it's modern art, and just allowing it to widen my perspective, to expand my perspective in a non-verbal way. And if you saw what I've asked my husband to buy me for Christmas, there's a lot of these type of books, and I already have a couple of those books, and I just like to open them and have myself challenged, have myself feel something, because that's what artwork does really for me. It's really not about the talent. It's all about what does it provoke non-verbally within myself. How does it make me feel? And so this is another self-supporting behavior that I've put in. I've decided that I haven't given space in my life for non-verbal ways to explore how I feel and open my perspective and expand. And so this is something I'm putting into my life as a joy and as a way of whenever whenever I feel a bit lost or something, I might journal, I might do spiritual work, and that's fine. But now I've got another option. That's what the foundation stones are there for, to say I've got another option, and this might be actually a way for me to change my perspective or expand my understanding, or find my way back to peace, whatever you might need in that moment. And so I just wanted to offer this as another example of how we can really explore and have fun exploring. It doesn't have to be like a super serious thing, what my foundation stones are, but this is like something that is a part of myself that is expanding, and it wants to be explored. And I'm sure that in the future I'll also wanting to be creating something of that nature as well, to offer that into the world. I'm not there yet by any stretch of the imagination, but you can feel with these foundation stones, with these self-supporting behaviors, you can feel how true to your authentic self they feel. No one's told you to do it. No one's sort of suggested this is healthy, or this is the way you should be, or you should be like that. Whatever it is, how you intuitively feel for you, it feels so good. You don't even have to question, should I or shouldn't I? That's how I feel about sort of energy movement. Anything that has an energetic element to movement, I really like. I don't have to question it, because I just know that it's in alignment with me. And so that's another, I wanted to give some more examples of how these foundation stones have appeared, these self-supporting behaviors have appeared for me. And maybe you might notice that, and I noticed it towards the end of the year, so maybe you've been noticing too, what you think you used to like, maybe even tasting food, tasting drink that you used to really love, no longer has the same resonance, because they're not self-supporting ultimately. Maybe you notice that you've been changing, and the things you liked before don't really hold as much interest in you anymore, and you're leaning towards other behaviors. And this is really just my invitation to explore what are these new likes, interests, passions. Where do they fit into your life, and should you be making more space for them? Not should in a negative way, but you want to make space for them. Yeah, maybe if you're making space for them, you need to clear out other things, and that's fine too, because the things that are self-supporting are ultimately in alignment with you. They're ultimately your authentic self, your authentic values. And by creating space for them in your world, you're living more in integrity with who you are. And that might be another word for next year, integrity. Be saying and doing which are in alignment. Your behaviors match who you authentically are. So yeah, just wanted to throw it out there, and yeah, let me know. Have you noticed changes in your likes and passions and interests? Have you changed what you like to eat, drink, go do? And are you creating space for these new explorations?